Stevens here from the DFS Group. Today the focus is on the low density residential zone and the minimum lot size, which is 600 square metres. I have to ask, in a brand new planning scheme, why is the minimum lot size so large? We need flexibility to develop some smaller lots to provide for housing choice and affordability. In my opinion, the minimum lot size should be 400 square metres. In the 1800s, residential Brisbane was developed mainly on 16 perch blocks, or 405 square metres. Those suburbs are now some of the most desirable and livable areas in Australia. 150 years later, the default residential lot size in Brisbane is still 400 square metres. It really begs the question, why on the Sunshine Coast do we need substantially bigger lot sizes? The majority of accommodation on the Sunshine Coast is in the form of the detached house, and most of these are 3 or 4 bedrooms in size. Yet for decades we have seen a decline in household size, now just at 2.5 persons per household. In fact, according to census figures, 23% of the Sunshine Coast households contain only one person, while a whopping 63% contain 2 people or less. It's pretty clear that as a community we need some variety in our housing stock. To be fair, I should point out that the draft planning scheme does allow for some smaller lots, but the provisions are so restrictive that it will be extremely difficult to achieve. A lot with an area less than 600 square metres can only be developed where it's within walking distance of a centre, and it's consistent with the preferred character, and it's not subject to topographical constraints. In most cases, it will be next to impossible to meet all 3 of these criteria in established residential areas. The final product of a small lot is a house. Often the only difference from a traditional house is the size of the yard. So why, when you have a smaller backyard, should your house need to be walking distance to a centre? It makes no sense. The other constraint to smaller lots is the requirement that development be consistent with the existing character. So for infill development in existing neighbourhoods, it will be extremely difficult to demonstrate that the small lots are consistent. But this doesn't make smaller lots wrong. It provides for housing variety and choice, which is a good thing. Finally, a 400 square metre lot is not a particularly small size. There are plenty of lots between 250 and 350 square metres being developed in new residential estates all over Queensland. 400 square metres should be the default lot size. We should have the flexibility to create smaller and more economical and sustainable lots. For a council that has a vision of being Australia's most sustainable region, the draft planning scheme fails miserably in terms of its residential settlement patterns. It will not produce compact urban settlements, nor will it facilitate infill development or a more efficient use of existing infrastructure. The draft scheme does not provide for housing choice or affordability, except by lumping smaller lots and duplexes into the medium density zones or the new emerging areas. And it seems I'm not the only one who thinks so. In section 2.1 of the draft scheme, the Minister has identified that the planning scheme fails to reflect the desired outcome for compact settlements, as set out in the South East Queensland Regional Plan. The minimum lot size of 600 square metres is antiquated and inefficient. The minimum lot size should be 400 square metres and not just limited to areas within walking distance of the centres. If you agree, then you should lodge a submission about the draft planning scheme. Submissions close on 14 December 2012, and if you need any help putting your submission together, please contact our office. Thank you for watching this video review. This has been Carrie Stevens. Bye for now.